Crashing out has become quite a popular term lately. Everybody thinks they're a crash out now because their anger got the better of them one time. Oh no, a crash out is much more than that. These are the type of people that you could just look at them and you know it's time to clutch them pearls. Today's specimen we're looking at is the Baker family from Resident Evil 7. We're gonna see who the true crash outs of the Baker family are, and we're gonna rank them with this chart. Starting from the bottom up, we got Hothead, Fake Crash Out, Part-Time Crasher, Dummy for Hire, and finally Crash Dummy. So let's see if the Baker family's actually some crash dummies, or maybe they might just be hotheads in disguise. First up is Zoe Baker, the youngest of the family, and the only one to resist the mind control of Evelyn. She did her best to survive in this hellhole for 3 years, because all these people are legit demons. So she's definitely the most sane out of the bunch. So when she does have her moments and she decides to act out, for example, when Ethan gets the cure and he ends up choosing Mia instead of her to heal, I think it's a very justifiable crash out if she actually did, but you know, she kind of just let out her frustrations. I wouldn't necessarily even call that a crash out. But other than that one time, she pretty much keeps her composure mostly. So that's why I'm putting her towards the bottom, because she knows how to regulate her emotions pretty well for being infected with a bioweapon level type of disease. So she's getting put in Hothead. Next is the big bro of the family, Lucas. Off rip, before he was even infected, he was known to act out. Some might even say by the age of 10 he was already a full-blown crash out. We can see a prime example of this because Lucas wrote about it in his diary, the time when he locked his bully in the attic because he called him a crazy head. Petty insults actually doing damage to the person that it's directed towards is a sign of a crash out. That one insult made Lucas build a whole gadget that let him lock his attic remotely, since apparently as a kid he was an unhinged Jimmy Neutron. But then he took it a step further and he tricked his bully into the attic and used that remote to lock him in until he starved to death. And this doesn't seem like a one-time thing because even when he's infected with the mold, he still acts the same way, making inventions just to kill people. But when that doesn't work and he can't actually get the kill, that's when he really starts to lose it.
Motherfucker! You're supposed to die!
So just because of the way he acts and the fact that he caught a body over a comment a kid made, Lucas has to go into Crash Dummy. Now for the newest addition to the Baker family, we got Mia Winters. She was trapped with these people for 3 years and she was also infected by them, so I say she's definitely a part of the family. When we see her at the Baker house, she has 2 different forms. We got her normal form and we got her mold form, but the way she changes, let's just call it her Majin form. The personality switch up is crazy with her. But the main times we see her crashing out is only when she's powered up. Prime example is when she's chasing Ethan around the house with her knife and chainsaws. That's when she's really doing big damage. So mainly, when she has the upper hand in a situation is the only time she's crashing out. In her base form, she doesn't really get that mad. Even in Resident Evil 8, the one time she seems mad, she doesn't put no type of conviction behind it.
You tell me, where is my husband? Where is my daughter?
I've seen SpongeBob look more heated lifting plushies than she did trying to find her family. Either way, her only heating up when she's got the advantage in the situation, this is a clear indicator of a fake crash out. Moving on to the mom of the family, we got the matriarch herself, Marguerite. She was the first to be infected in the family, and before the infection, we see she's actually a very loving and thoughtful mother and wife. After the infection, she does a 180, and she's very short-tempered and aggressive. But even after that 180, nothing still gives off the vibe of a crash out. Anytime she doesn't get her way, we see her panic, and then she calls in her husband to handle it. She just doesn't throw her weight around like she should, especially being able to control bugs now. You get a whole superpower and you're still not crashing out. In my opinion, she could just be doing so much more, but it just doesn't seem like she has that crash out gene in her. That's why I also have to put Marguerite into fake crash out. She just didn't have it in her. So we talked about the mom, so of course we gotta move on and talk about good old dad.
Daddy's coming. We need to go.
Daddy?
Jack Baker is the face of Resident Evil 7, and that's for good reason. This man is a menace. From the way he'll chase you through the house to the way he just never dies in a fight. Pre-infection, he was a simple dude and he moved exactly the way you would expect a father would. Post-infection, he ends up being the most violent out of the bunch, always ready to throw hands and just
Is this nigga serious?
You can really tell most of the stuff he does in the game is for the love of the game. Prime example, he'll chop off your leg in game and make you crawl to it and heal yourself just to prolong the chase. He could have injured you right there, but he wanted to have fun. But this way of thinking applies even when you do damage to him. When Jack got infected, the mold gave him a super healing factor, allowing him to take crazy amounts of damage. And with that, it allowed him not to care for anything but the fight. If you know you're not gonna get hurt, all you have to do is win. Even though he's nearly invincible, he's still not going into a fight without some type of plan. He's still very sneaky and will lurk around you until he catches you in a trap whenever he can. And he's also not afraid to use weapons to really get down and dirty. And there's proof of this that he really likes to think out his actions, because even when he becomes a full-blown monster and he's more beast than man, he's still laying traps for people. So because of that intellect, I have to put him in dummy for hire. He likes to crash out, but only when it suits him best. Next up, we got Evelyn. And I honestly feel like I don't gotta say much for this. If you know her, we can just go ahead and throw her in Crash Dummy. She wants everything her way and only her way. She will mind control people to become her family, but if she doesn't think you mess with them, she'll kill you instantly. But what really sealed the deal for me is that even when she's old and she can't even wipe her own ass, she still isn't giving in. When she fails and she knows her time is coming, she still has that crash out mentality of it's not her fault.
Why does everyone hate me?
So with all that said, there's no other spot for her except Crash Dummy. Last but not least, we got Joe Baker, the uncle to the Baker family. The only time we see him is in the DLC End of Zoe. And that whole DLC is all about his mission to try and save his niece. And that's all he's thinking about. Once again, I want you to take notes. This is a sign of a crash out. Someone with a one-tracked mind. We can see this in the opening cutscene. As when he walks up, he sees his niece dying and there's two soldiers around her. He asks, hey, what's going on? And without waiting for an explanation, he's punching out two dudes in full-on SWAT armor. But did you see it? There was another sign of a crash out right there. That sign was no fear. Him attacking people in full body armor with weapons with just his fist. There's no other word for him but crazy. I'm not going to even mention that the only weapons he uses through this whole DLC is either his fist or wooden spears. He's legit out here like he's prime Mike Tyson, punching out zombies and gators with just his bare hands. And it seems like he's always been like this, because later on in the DLC, once he finds out the monster that's been chasing him his whole time is his little brother Jack, he starts bringing up old memories.
You remember the time I broke your nose when we were kids? You remember when I rolled like into the swamp?
You know they probably always went at it at the family reunion, but it's still just crazy to me that this version of Jack has been completely taken over by the mold. He has no humanity in sight. Like I said, he's more beast than human, but Joe still decides to throw hands with him. And you gotta remember, this is the only family member of the Bakers that didn't get infected. He's really just a crash dummy. Either that, or he's just a natural born and raised Louisiana boy. Either way, he's still going to crash dummy. But there it is, the Baker family list. Just looking at it, you can see there's a clear, even split between the family's dynamics. But honestly, I think that's something you need sometime to keep the family going. Especially for a family as crazy as this one.